This is TWiT.
All right, talk me down off the cliff, because it looks like, according to fingerprintjs.com, there is a leak in Safari that Apple knows about and says they have a patch for, but haven't fixed. A leak that could leak things like your Google account, websites you've recently visited, lots of information. It's the index DB that leaks out, and that has a lot of information in it. Rene, is this overblown, or is it a genuine issue?
No, I mean, it's terrible. Like it should be fixed. It sounds like they have fixed it. They just haven't rolled out the fix yet. It's not like a hack, sort of it's not like malware or anything like that. It's a data privacy breach, but those are terrible. And I think that in a lot of ways, Apple's measure 8 times, cut once strategy of only addressing these things when they're actually fixed hurts them, because people assume that they're ignoring the problem, especially when you hear dates being thrown around like November and now it's January. And you're like, well, where is it?
You can go to Safari.
So I'm not talking you down, Leo. I'm just standing at the edge of the cliff.
You're not helping. No.
We're holding on to each other at the edge of the cliff.
If you want to get scared, go to safarileaks.com. It's been up and down. I guess maybe there are a lot of people using it right now, and probably it'll be down now that I've mentioned it. But safarileaks.com, yeah, Apple's blocking it, I guess. Maybe it's the VPN. I can go on my Linux box, but I can't go on my iPhone. And, of course, it means nothing. You have to be using a WebKit browser. As all browsers
it makes people angry, especially
on iOS.
Because like on the desktop, you can just switch to Chrome, or you can switch to something else and not worry about it until Apple recovers. But like on iOS, Apple only allows WebKit as a rendering engine. So even if you change to Chrome or you change to Firefox, you're still using WebKit under the covers. And in some cases, that's helpful because it limits the amount of active exploit surface. But when there's an actual active exploit, it's not helpful.
The reason this is kind of a big deal is because it was reported to the WebKit bug tracker on November 28th of last year.
Yeah.
And Apple still has not fixed it. And Apple has had, unfortunately, there have been other cases where Apple has been slow to respond to bugs. Apple did say this week, yesterday, that they have merged potential fixes into the WebKit source code.
I don't know if they said. I think people just saw that they did it.
Oh yeah, that's right. You can go look and see it. That's right.
Because sometimes, like, there's famous instances where fixing a bug destroys a ton of stuff, and it's really hard to fix the bug. Like there were Safari bugs that they had to go back 4 or 5 years to fix everything. So they take a while, but they don't communicate during that period. So we don't know if they just didn't do it, if they ignored it, if they did it but it broke something else, if they're still trying to we have zero information to feel comforted or terrified by at this point.
Because WebKit is open source, you can actually go to WebKit on GitHub and see the patch. So it has been merged in.
And download the nightlies if you want.
Yeah, I guess if you got the nightlies, you'd have that.
Yeah.
So
you would like a little bit more transparency. I think that according to this Fingerprints.js article and a couple others I saw, I could be wrong, but there wasn't a whole lot of information about whether Apple was acknowledging this and moving on it. That only until like earlier this week was there outside tangible evidence that they were working on this. They were seeing this as something that they're going to have to fix. And you'd like to the person who reported it to at least be able to say, okay, I see a red receipt on this and a smile and a frowny face emoji. They understand this. They're going to be working on this somehow.
So to be clear, it's not a hack. It's just a leak of information from indexed DB. But it could be some, for instance, your Google user ID. It could be stuff that could have problems.
I mean, just being able to see what open window, what websites do you have in other open windows and tabs? That's a big deal, even if it's just that for a multitude of reasons.
And not all websites interact with indexed DB, but many do. A lot of the big ones do. Privacy mode, private mode in Safari 15 it does not protect you. So
privacy mode, people get confused like with privacy and incognito, and they think that it actually hides something. All it does is it doesn't generate records. It's not hiding anything. It's just not generating a record of what you did.
Right.
So you're still doing all those things, and in real time, people can still see what you're doing.
And when a site interacts with indexed DB database, that has nothing to do with the private browsing, and the interaction still happens. So you're not protected. And yes, absolutely, this could be a horrific bug to fix, and Apple could have been working on this for 3 months. We don't know.
Yeah, night and day. We just don't know.
And I understand why Apple doesn't like to talk about security issues, because that just raises a awareness with the bad guys as well as with the good guys. So you could explain why Apple's not saying anything about this.